So everybody's excited about the newest stock, AirBNB. They just had their IPO recently. And the truth of the matter is that I'm going to give you 5 reasons not to buy the Airbnb stock. Number 1, it's always actually a bad idea to buy a stock immediately after the IPO because there will be wild swings in both directions. It'll go up hard, it'll go down hard. Your chance of making money are pretty minimal, I think, in the beginning because the swings are enormous. I actually got fooled by Palantir. I bought that immediately and it tanked, and of course now it's up a lot. But I think that we really don't know the value of Airbnb at the moment because this is brand new. The valuations are hard to determine because, as you know, there are a lot of issues with that. So don't just buy it because it's cool and it's the hype. And the way that they market the stock is, oh, Airbnb is a community and it's a way to feel like you're home, away from home, no matter what. Don't fall for any of that. That's all a hype. And you need more time before you can determine if this is actually a good stock and a worthwhile investment. Another issue is that it was only about a week ago that the analysts for Airbnb were having a tough time seriously justifying $40 billion for Airbnb, and just like that, the traders took Airbnb to $100 billion in about a week. Now, does that make sense? Does it make sense for some company to be questionable at 40 billion and then reach 100 billion? You have to remember that this has been a tough year for Airbnb. This has been one of the toughest years ever. In fact, they actually temporarily delayed the IPO precisely because of the fact that it didn't look like anybody would want to buy the stock. And then all of a sudden, boom, when people got their chance to buy it, went to 100 billion. That's another sign there might be irrational exuberance. So I think a word of caution is definitely in order. So the other issue has to do with government regulations. The truth is, Airbnb is a very local issue because people rent out their properties, and then all you need are a few people to create a problem. Maybe some of the people who stayed with Airbnb had wild, crazy parties, or they just were a nuisance to the community, and then the community goes to the city council, and then they try to create regulations to make it difficult for Airbnb. So as a result, there are probably separate regulations for Airbnb throughout the whole country, and I imagine that's extremely difficult, complex, and problematic for the company to handle so many different regulations about short-term rentals. And as more people start to do this, it just seems like it becomes more unpopular. Like, even though I think it's awesome to stay in someone's property at a good price, the problem is that a lot of people in the community just don't like short-term renters because, I mean, it's understandable. If someone's only there for a month, they don't really care about the community as much, and that could be an issue. But then again, maybe it's possible Airbnb can focus on the culture of trying to get people to care more. But that is the biggest problem. The government regulations especially at the local level. I think local people seem to really dislike Airbnb for a lot of reasons. Like, I don't, but that's an issue that you need to consider as an investor. As an example, this is in terms of how unpopular it is. Think of an Apple store. An Apple store is not divisive. If there's an Apple store, nobody's going to have a protest. But if people are renting out their home to people in the local community, tends to cause a stir, tends to cause quite a lot of divisive protests. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, that it's very different from other kind of business arrangements, including hotels. The other big problem with Airbnb is that there are so many competitors now who are getting into the home away from home kind of idea. A lot of the hotels have actually created second brands where they deal with trying to make it look beautiful and nice and make it attractive when you're on the website. And there's very little intellectual property if you think about it, the Airbnb control. It's not like Apple that, oh, you cannot make another iPhone because there's a patent on it. There's no patent on the idea of, oh, there's a website and people can list their property. Anybody literally can do that. There's no barrier to that. So there's nothing stopping new competitors on it. What Airbnb does is they try to do some BS. Oh, we're trying to make it so you feel like it's a community and you're going to feel very welcoming. So they use a lot of mumbo jumbo, but it's starting to remind me of WeWork. WeWork tried that too. They didn't have any intellectual property preventing other people from doing the exact same thing, which a lot of people have done the same thing. So Airbnb is going to be in a lot of trouble, I'd say, because there's nothing really that stops other people from competing in this space. In fact, you could tell that their competition is fierce because Airbnb charges the actual homeowners such a small amount. They only charge them like 4%, I think, on the basically just handle transaction fees, because a lot of people are very resistant to putting their property on there. So a lot of these places, other companies are going to now compete with Airbnb as time goes on, and profits will be minimal. Yet, meanwhile, if you buy the stock today, you're paying for a fraction of that $100 billion company. But why is it worth $100 billion? They haven't made a profit, and the competition is coming. Another problem that exists when it comes down to a stock like Airbnb is they have never made a profit on a yearly basis in their entire history. And this year, I believe that they have lost almost $700 million. I mean, that's really an insane amount, and that's without owning any property whatsoever. Where do these expenses go? That's really an enormous amount of money to lose on just building the websites and paying employee salaries. And it's really incredible, actually, that they have not been able to generate a profit in that time. In fact, if you read the prospectus, it says that there is a chance that they will never make a profit. I mean, that is really unreal. And I don't think that there is any statements about when they expect to be profitable either. So that's another thing to consider. It's a big risk. The company is valued at $100 billion. And it has never made even 1 penny in profit on a yearly basis. That's a huge risk. So I hope that you like this video. Smash the like button, it really helps with the Google algorithm. And I'll see you in the next video.